occasionally when we play a game, we are completely oblivious to an idea that's available to us in the position. So hopefully you'll enjoy me missing a beautiful tactical idea over and over and over in this game. And it's going to stem from a line that I recommend in both of my Chessable French text, Master the French Defense, as well as 1e6 versus everything. And against the advanced variation, I do like this flexible queen b6, and after knight f3, you could go back to the overall main line with knight c6, but I strongly prefer bishop d7. As my games, as well as a lot of my students' games, this is going to be the main line you face. You see them move the bishop either to e2 or d3. We capture in the center. They need to capture back with the pawn to maintain the strong pawn center. And our main problem in the French is that French bishop. We take time to go ahead and get rid of our worst minor piece. Grab, grab, and now natural development. We've already got the queen eyeing d4. We want our knights linked up to place pressure, where all of white's pieces are going to be defensive and ours are going to be aggressive. We've already accomplished a major goal in the French in getting rid of our light square bishop for its counterpart, which is typically very annoying and attacking us because our knight can't sit on its natural f6 square to defend our king side. So with that bishop gone, we're already angling for an endgame where our bishop will be able to hit those pawns that are stuck in the middle, whereas the opposing bishop will be a defensive piece. And defensive pieces are bad pieces. So let's see how it went. Knight c6, knight e7, knight g to e7, knight f5, full, beautiful coordination against the d4 pawn, bishop c3. Gotta love seeing that, where your opponent's bishop becomes a de facto pawn. Now, how do we improve? We need to castle, we need to get our bishop out. Definitely not bishop b4. Please don't trade off your endgame advantage. Bishop e7, natural enough. Rook c1, castles. And the opponent felt the need to be aggressive here. And I appreciate it because this is the type of theme that will happen in my students' games. They go, well, how do I handle the middle game from here? I've gotten my ideal setup. g4. What's the most aggressive path forward? Okay, knight h4. That's one of the main reasons we want that bishop on e7. Grab, grab, f4. Now this attack looks menacing. Or is it? How do you react here? If you're playing the home game, this is a good pause your video to try to figure out what to do moment. And here, we need to try to break down the center. We've already done it with c5, now f6. Our bishop is quite secure on h4. Why does it have many options here? Grab, and all of a sudden our bishop comes back. Even though we've created another pawn island, we've opened up the file for our rook, and this bishop is harmoniously attacking with the knight and queen d4. So we see g5, bishop e7, Mr. Natural, and rook f3. And from this point, I want you to pause the video because I am playing like second or third best move almost every time here because I see my solid position, I see this backwards pawn, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm just gonna like g6, bishop d6, double the rooks, maybe go knight e7, knight f5. I'm just gonna stick all of those pawns of my opponent on dark squares where they can't do anything, and then I'll just like eventually magically win. This is just what happens in my games. I'm not too concerned with tactical things, so I miss what you probably saw immediately here. Nothing supporting this rook. The rook is definitely not doing what he needs to be doing. So, at this point, Bishop takes g5 definitely would have been better. But you miss these things, and I play bishop d6. Queen d3. Now, you probably saw the first one. And if this next move jumped out at you, you should definitely be playing the French defense. I say, okay, he's probably looking at f5 to free things up. I'm going to go g6, lock it down. What I should have done is the very beautiful idea that's going to now pop up like every few moves. e5. And this is just simply fantastic. You can't move the d-pawn. And if you decide, hey, I'm going to go ahead and play f takes e5. Oh yeah, so natural. Knight takes e5 with the fork. You still can't capture due to the pin. And if you decide to go rook f8, and move the queen to h3, knight f3 check, followed by knight takes g5, the attack continues, and it's a monstrous attack at that. e5, and this video would have been just showcasing how wonderful this, but of course not. Of course not. I'm going to play like I do. Mr. Solid, Mr. Natural, not Mr. Tactical. Kasparov would have found e5 in a heartbeat. Rook fc1. Say, okay, I've got him where I want him. I have the weakness that he's not even focusing on. Let's go ahead and build pressure. Rook f7. Opponent goes h4. And here again, I say, f5's looking like a great square. I go knight e7. What I should have done? e5. I'm putting exclams pretty much every time e5 is played because pawn takes, knight takes is just nasty yet again. But here, knight e7 with disgust. Knight f5. And defend that e-pawn. Relocating the bishop to go ahead and hit d4. Not grabbing it too quickly. I want full coordination. Rook a to f8. Rook e1. And here, in time trouble, I haven't considered it the whole game, so it's definitely not going to be in my mind's eye here. e5 again. e5 is just disgustingly good. But I went king f7 because, hey, e6 pawn's attacked, e6 pawn's defended. King g3. And the d pawn still hit. He goes rook e3, doesn't hold the pawn. He sees he's getting the e6 pawn and breaking through. Should I be scared? No, not at all. How many moves until checkmate? Pause your video, don't move until you see it. Alright, I'm continuing on, gave you ample chance to pause. Queen takes f4, and the opponent resigned as we have a convenient staircase-like pattern that we all know and love. That'll do it for this video, and if you're interested in learning more about the French, check out those courses on Chessable. Master the French defense, but more recently, 1e6 against everything. Thanks for watching.